Detroit's former mayor wants a new trial. Tomorrow, his attorney will get a shot at convincing the Court of Appeals to give Kwame Kilpatrick another chance at a not guilty verdict. 7 investigator Heather Catala will be covering the oral arguments in Cincinnati tomorrow. Tonight, she has a look at the former mayor's chances at freedom.
The odds are not in Kwame Kilpatrick's favor, but the former mayor and his co-defendant Bobby Ferguson are asking the Court of Appeals for a do-over.
Does it mean that it's not an appealable issue? It may be.
That was Kwame Kilpatrick's lawyer back in 2012, just weeks before the former mayor's massive federal corruption trial was about to begin. Back then, Kilpatrick told Judge Nancy Edmonds he could no longer work with his longtime attorney, Jim Thomas. The main reason at the time, Thomas had once represented a witness in the same case.
Is there really such a breakdown in the relationship as Mr. Kilpatrick described?
I'm not in a position to criticize or refute what it is that he said. That's what he felt. He said it to the court.
The feds dropped that part of the case to eliminate the conflict of interest, and the judge ordered Kilpatrick to stick with Thomas and his co-counsel. A jury later found Kwame Kilpatrick and former city contractor Bobby Ferguson guilty of racketeering, bribery, extortion, and other charges. Both will be behind bars for decades unless their lawyers can convince the judges at the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals to grant them another trial. Now Kilpatrick's new court-appointed lawyer says Thomas had an even bigger conflict of interest. Harold Gurewitz is arguing that Kilpatrick was denied effective representation because just 5 months before the corruption trial, Jim Thomas moved to the same law firm that was also suing Kilpatrick over a massive sewer collapse. Legal expert Peter Henning is a former federal prosecutor.
It goes to the core of the constitutional guarantee of the right to counsel. Not only do you have the right to counsel, but the Supreme Court has said you have the right to conflict-free counsel.
That's not the only issue that will be at stake during Tuesday's oral arguments. Both Gurewitz and Ferguson's lawyers are also saying federal agents testified improperly when they repeatedly read text messages to the jury during the 5-month trial.
This goes back to the federal rules of evidence. What is permissible testimony? What is permissible expert testimony by a witness? The problem with that argument is even if the judge shouldn't have done that, and that's very much of an open question, did that really taint the jury's decision?
The 7 investigators will be in Cincinnati for the oral arguments as the defense teams and the federal prosecutors face a 3-judge panel at the Court of Appeals. Everything gets underway at 1:30 Tuesday afternoon. Of course, we'll bring you the very latest here on 7 Action News and on WXYZ.com. I'm Heather Catala, 7 Action News.